Now let's see how we can test for XXE vulnerabilities by using the update user details endpoint. I'm switching to Burp Suite to copy and paste the XML request from the API documentation. So I'm opening up my Burp Suite and I'm going to repeater, and let's copy the put request from the API documentation. So I'm switching to my API documentation and let's copy the put request. And let me open up Notepad and paste it, and let's copy it once again and paste it in repeater. Let's adjust few things. Replace API with /v1. Replace localhost with the IP address of secure store server 192.168.1.79. And finally, let's arrange our XML properly. Looks good, but there is no such account called doctest. It's asking for the host and port. Let's just fill in so Burp knows whom to send the request to. As you can see, the response says it is an invalid user because there is no such account called doctest registered in our database. So let's change this to secure store and secure store. And we are changing the password to secure store itself. And finally, we need to update the token. So let me just grab it from the response of the login request. I'm copying this and let me paste it instead of this token. And let's replay the request once again. As you can see, the message says update success. That means this request is valid and the API on the server is processing this XML properly. Now let's see if this particular endpoint is vulnerable to XXE. For those who are new to XXE, XXE stands for XML External Entity Injection. In XXE, an attacker typically passes external entities along with the XML data, and if the parser that is parsing this XML data on the server is vulnerable to XXE, it will be forced to execute the external entity that is passed by the attacker. Now let's see that in action. I'm just going to define an external entity here like this, and if you see this, there is an entity called file. I'm just going to replace this secure store and I'll reference that external entity here. So when the parser on the server tries to extract the username, it will instead execute this external entity, which is going to read the file /etc/password. So let's try to replay this request and see if etc password file is going to be read. If it is read, our attack is successful. There you go. As you can see in the response, we managed to read the etc password file from the server. And this is how XML external entity injection vulnerabilities can be tested in REST APIs.